Ain't you sick of giving me your money?
Oh, it's. Oh. I know he didn't do it, baby.
Hold on a second. Whoa. Where you going?
No, I'm about to go make these drop offs.
Yo, what's going on? This is your boy Bradley DLO Thomas. Welcome to the Black Currency Podcast. So, a little bit about me. I'm a marketing professional by day in the biotechnology field. By passion, I am a MC, producer, just media man. Let me pass the microphone.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl Opal Elisa. By day, I am a director of multicultural business strategy for a large financial company. By passion, I'm MC, poet, spoken word artist, author, all of the above. I'll pass the mic.
What's going on? It's Corey Dashed Up Whitmore. By day, I'm in the office. By night, I'm in the office. But sometimes I get to go to Vegas and watch the Billboard Awards and participate in Lovers and Friends Festival. But, that's just me. How y'all doing?
You never fail with the intro. I think that's
never.
You got to start like putting special clips just for that alone, yo, man. But there is another individual that we have here with us. I'm gonna break down a little bit about him, and I'm sure there's much more, but this is what I know. I know that number one, he's an avid hip hop fan. This is how I actually kind of got in touch with him. I know that he was instrumental in building a record label here in Madison, and that kind of flipped into I remember just Get Your Buzz Up. All I remember seeing is bees all over the place and tons of shows and him just promoting everything. And I was like, yo, man, that's not Big Pun though. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember cats used to be like, yo, that's Big Pun. I was like, nah, dude, like, you know what I'm saying? He's super cool though. So Coast to Coast mixtape, I'm sure y'all heard of that. But there's going to be a lot of questions that we're going to ask him because he's also the vice president of an organization that I'm very familiar with, also a part of. It's called Urban Community Arts Network UCAN here in Madison, Wisconsin, which is focused in on the arts. And he also is into not just we talk about entrepreneurism, but we also there's other ways of currency in terms of just financial currency. So he's also, in my opinion, in the physical health realm with his Muay Thai Boxing Association and company that he runs called The Blast here in Madison, and he's got a whole nother movement that is called Seek Death, and I saw him like having his own shoe or something like that. So and he does NFTs. That's what I'm saying, man. Like I can sit here for another 5 minutes and introduce him, but without further ado, everybody, let's give it up for Mark Shah Evans, y'all.
What's up? How are y'all doing today?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Joining us.
What do you say?
No problem.
Joining us.
So yeah, like we always do, I got my notepad here. The people that we have on this podcast always drop jewels, aka information, things that you can become a better human being by listening to and learning from. So please take down any notes. The things that you write down on a notebook tend to stick in your mind a little bit more. Everybody's used to their smartphones or their iPads or their computers. That's electronic light just going into your brain. It's a lot different from you actually handwriting things, so that you can interpret it. But enough about how people learn. Let's get into picking this champion's brain. So, tell us a little bit about your journey. What kind of led you to? I remember you from hip hop, but I know your roots. Like, how did everything begin for you? Like, tell us about your journey, like how you got to where you are today, a little bit.
It definitely started with hip hop as far as legal businesses, but like most knuckleheads, legal businesses were easier and more fun. It's kind of funny because when I think about it, I don't know why I never told this story a lot before, but one of my first jobs, and this is gonna be so bad. My first couple jobs were like a paper route and working at a gas station. So, and this is gonna remind y'all of The Wire a little bit. So with the paper route, I got sick of going to people's place and try to collect the money because it wasn't like they charged. You actually had to go physically get the money. And then I was sick of somebody not checking the money and I just tell them, look, these people aren't paying. Oh, okay. So wait a minute, I don't got to go do that. Oh, so the hustler brain in me was like, if you're not double checking my work, and now granted, I'm a kid. And so if you're not going to double check my work,
Right.
and I got to go out here and walk anyway. Okay. And then that was an easy way for me to make money. And with the gas station, well, if I can get sodas or candies out of there all the time and then just go sell them to other kids, that just seemed like a natural hustle to me. That just was like, I'm not selling drugs. I'm selling candy and pop. Like, let's go. And so that's where I started learning a little bit about supply and demand and what I can get away with. I wouldn't recommend going to do something illegal, but and then of growing, getting older, having a daughter, I didn't want to continue doing certain things. And then poker. I actually learned a lot from playing poker. I learned more. I was able to take my understanding of reading people, dealing with a household of abuse. The first thing, I know a lot of people that suffer from abuse talk about how they had to learn how to read people and sort of get the vibe. And so my stepdad come home or he wake up and it was like, I don't like this vibe. Let me disappear for a minute. And so it made it easy to read people in poker. And then it was just learning calculations. Now, I don't like math and I can't always break down the percentages, but I understand a deck of cards. Certain amount of cards in a deck, certain amount of cards in a suit. If I see a certain amount of cards, it's like, you start playing those odds. And then you just got to read the person and then make it so they can't read you. So you sell drugs, you deal with that kind of trauma. You know how to read people very well. You know how to read situations. And I found some success in poker and it was like, oh, okay. And then working jobs and I was like, man, I'm sick of working for other people and making them money at jobs I don't want to work at.
Yeah.
And kind of decided that music was the thing for me right then. That's kind of the condensed version. That's how I got started. And then with music, it was just being willing. Is weird. I was so willing to make a million mistakes because I didn't know I was making mistakes. I look back there, it's like, oh yeah, this is gonna work this way. Oh man, it didn't work. Let me pivot into this way. Oh man, that didn't work. Oh, let me try this way. Let me try this. Let me do this. Oh man. And it was just like after each time of trying new things, I could see what worked. And then I just had to be honest with myself why something didn't work. Was it just a really bad idea? Or was it something that I could have done better? Like if a show didn't do well, I took that personal. I didn't take it personal that the city wasn't supporting me. I took it personal I didn't do my job. So then it was like, okay, how can I do better? And then it was like, okay, more flyers, more posters. Figure out MySpace at that time. Figure out.
You said MySpace. Oh wow,
man! Like,
man, who's in your top 8, yo? Do you remember who's in your top 8?
Man, no, I don't remember who's in my top 8. I only I guarantee I wasn't really listening to people like that. It was just more a tool. Like using everything as a tool. Social media was my greatest tool. And so Facebook, and at this time, Facebook wasn't cracking. So if you put an event on Facebook and people said they were coming, more than likely they were coming. And so, and then I just made sure to poster, do all that, and then really get on the grind. And then it was when someone said something couldn't be done, I was like, you can't do it. I can do it. And so when everyone said you couldn't get on the radio station, that you can't do it, but I'm gonna do it. And then I just blew up the program director until he was okay with having a beer and some food with me. And then he liked who I was. He liked I just wasn't some person just asking for something. It was like, look, if you put local artists on your show, you will get more viewership during those times. You are bringing national acts already. Let local people open. You might bring out 10 to 20 more people, which will look good for sponsors. And especially at that time, because Jam's demographic is a top 40 rhythmic state, like they're a top 40 rhythmic station. Their demographic are kids that listen to the radio. However, when they do shows, they couldn't afford those acts that those kids wanted to see. So they would bring out older acts because their sponsors were like beer and all this. So you need those older acts. So if you bring the local acts that are older, because typically they were, now you got a demo that's going to go buy the beer. Boom, you make your sponsors happy. So it was like I knew how to sell that.
So,
and then,
Mark, were you ever working with 93.1 on the Taste of Madison? Some of the artists that were coming in and
it got to a point where, besides Profound, and we're all old enough to remember Profound.
Yeah, I remember Eric.
Yeah. So when every act locally got booked for probably a decade, they came to me and asked. And that was dope because I was able to tell them artists that I work with, but also show love to other artists that I wasn't working with that I knew were doing well at shows, that were doing well, that I know I would book for a show. So the Taste of Madison, Dane County Fair,
Brofest too.
Brofest. So it was like wherever Jams had a stage, they were hitting me up for the local acts. And I could understand why that might upset people to a certain extent, but it's like, no one's stopping you from making that connect. Go make that connect and go set up that meeting and be a bulldog about it. And then show them that you can bring something to the table.
Right.
And it worked out well. It worked out well. And I still have a great relationship with them. And, you're talking like 2 or 3 program directors later and multiple DJs later. So it's like, they've just passed on my information because I've always done things the right way, professional. Even when I may not agree with them, I just kept it professional. I'm not going to burn a bridge just because we don't see eye to eye on something. So,
and that's like some executive upper echelon intelligence you just dropped on people. Like, you don't have to like someone to work to actually work with them and be effective and have a great outcome. Just from my personal perspective, I was never really able to build those type of relationships. I kind of did it on purpose, kind of shot myself in the foot, like, man, they playing that pop, man, I ain't trying to be, you know what I'm saying, like, just not thinking about the big picture. So that's dope.
I think that was the benefit of not being an artist.
Yeah.
And just really focusing on the business. And then when I was younger, I was the knucklehead that always kicked off a war, kicked off something stupid for no reason. Man, don't get in that fight right now. You gonna kick this off. Things, I still smack a dude. And so it was like I had to learn to like keep myself in check. And it was like, you messing up business.
Give me that chain.
Yeah, it was like, yeah. It was like, yeah. Like I was the dude that would like wild out. And I know it's because I was so angry as a kid, but it was like I always felt like I had to prove something. And it's one of those things, being mixed and grown up and mostly, predominantly Black neighborhood, Hispanic neighborhood. It was like I always felt like I had to prove something. And so I wasn't white at home, and I wasn't always Black enough out there. And so it was like, okay. Like my guys never looked at me like that, but I always felt like I had to prove something. So I had to be a bigger dog about things. So it's like, yeah, you want that? I don't care. And I figured nobody could give me more pain than what I was dealing with at home. So if you willing to rumble, we gonna go. And so I just took that mentality, just sort of matured and grew. And so it was like, okay, I want that same dog mentality. I want to work like that. but now I got to get along with people. And
Right.
so, and I think the benefit was moving to like I got moved to Wisconsin when I was 17 and I had to live like out in farmland. And now you talk all white people.
Yeah,
And now I
don't
had to,
know. Yeah, Richmond Center. That's
yeah,
that's
Richmond
all.
Center, that's white.
It's pretty
It's
white.
white. And
That's
so
white
it's
as
like,
hell.
It's pretty white.
Mm-hmm.
You step into town, it's just you. You change the
yeah,
demographic every
it's
time
like,
you drive in there.
yeah, it's like, okay. I don't know how to communicate with none of y'all. And it sounds funny because my mom is white, but my mom, she always told me, I never seen you marrying a white woman. That's one of the first things she said, like when me and Sherelle got married. Yeah, I never seen you marrying a white woman. So like, this is more what I seen. Like, so my family's white. I didn't really know the other side of my family, but everybody I grew up with wasn't white. So it was like, now I'm around all these white people. I don't know what to say or do. So let me just put on some headphones, put the pick in my head because I had a fro, and let me just walk around and do me. I play sports, and like I'm good. I don't have to do nothing. And it worked because the rule was, not to listen to music, but they didn't say nothing to me. They let me do me. So it was like I learned how to communicate with people that are different from me. And that is a valuable skill that I really, really needed because I could not go around and be Dame Dash. He had the money. I didn't have the money. I had to make the connects. And so once I knew that, then it was like, all right, let's go make the connects. And as long as they're not disrespecting me, cool. And once I learned how to use the media, it was a wrap. It was a wrap because then once I made the connects with the media, okay, this how y'all want to treat us? Mm-hmm. NBC, how you doing? How would you like this story? And this is what's happening. Tell me if you want to cover it. Oh, Isthmus, this is what's happening. Like, and so that gave me a different power chip. So what I didn't have in money and what I didn't have in influence with the city at that time, it was more what a guerrilla style warfare. It's like I can't beat you. I don't have the resources. So I'm gonna nip at you. And I'm gonna make the right connects that work for me. So like Tom Farley when he was an alderman, the right connect. JD with Jams, the right connect. This person over here at NBC, the right connect. This person over here. It's just I don't have the vast army, but I'm gonna take ports.
Sure.
Ports. And I looked at it like war. And someone like Alexander, when Alexander won, he didn't take them head on. He took away their supply lines, so they couldn't get supplies. So now they're weaker, and so that's how I started looking at things. So
when you say Alexander, you mean Alexander the Great?
Yeah, Alexander the Great.
Okay. I'm just trying to.
My bad.
Fill in
Alexander
the blank
the Great.
for people who listening, because I know you be on some higher level shit, Mark.
Yeah, I listen to Mike Tyson, man. I swear. And some of my students say they listen to Mike Tyson talking. It's like listening to a twin. I haven't accomplished what that man has, but we definitely have the same mind frame. I love studying great conquerors, great leaders, because you can see where they messed up and you can see where they were so successful. And it's the same thing that made them successful that messed them up, is that ego. Because you need an ego to go do some of this stuff. It's just not confidence. You got to have that ego where, of course, I'm not going to mess up. Oh, shit, I failed. Okay. Go do it again. I'm not going to mess this. Oh, shit. Oh, wait. Am I allowed to swear?
Yes.
Yeah. You
Okay.
you want to say.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to mess this up. And it's like, you almost got to be ignorant to the fact that you failing and just still at the same time understand what you failed. And that's just checking yourself. And it's like that ego and humble meter are constantly doing this. And if you let humble get too much up here, you're not going to want to jump off the cliff and keep trying. But if you let ego get up here, you're not even going to think of new ideas. And I think human nature, like I've definitely been up here. And then when I fell, I was like, ooh, that one hurt. That one hurt. And then humbled to the point where I can't jump. I'm afraid. No. Oh man, I should have jumped.
That's dope. I love, like, I've known you for over a decade. When you were coming on the show, I was like, how long have I known him? I'm like, shit, it's been over 10 years. And when I met you, it was through music, of course. And you you were an artist, right? Like I have some old remixes that that Shah is on. Believe
I
that.
want to hear
Believe
those.
that.
I want to
Okay.
hear those.
Digital, right?
Okay.
So I have some of that. But I could now to hear you tell your story this way, right? Like I could totally see all of what you're saying because I would watch him and like your passion totally was for the strategy of it. It always was. Where like myself, Tef, and some other folks, like even though we have to do the business side, it's I have to, okay, to survive. But it's not like I don't have a passion for it. But you definitely had, and it came through. And then when you're talking about the poker piece and reading people, one of the places I saw that so much is like I was almost always the only female back in the day who was rapping, and Shy always saw that. So he would always come at me a little bit differently, like, okay, you also need to do this. And you also need to think about how people are hearing you. And you got to think about how the guys are hearing you. You got to think about the girls are hearing you. No one else probably even noticed. I mean, they knew it was a girl, but no one cared, right? So Shy, I could totally see how you do that and how that lets you just connect with folks. So I love that you shared some of that pieces. And that was a gem. I hope our listeners caught, that humbleness ego meter. Like that,
Right.
that was a gem that you just dropped because
Man, that
that's
thing
so
is a
true,
pain
right?
in my rear side
So
sometimes, boy. I tell
true.
you.
But yeah, but your confidence, real talk, is one of the things I admire about you most because it just gets stuff done. And you've been doing it for a minute, and it works, and you keep evolving. So, with someone who does so much stuff, right, and does it so well, and is respected in many realms, what is your life philosophy? What would it come down to if it was a tagline or a couple sentences? What is it?
Oh, I only got 3.
Okay.
You control you
Okay.
all the time, every day, all day.
Yeah.
Don't let someone pull you out of your emotions. You control you.
Hmm.
Make your passion make sense. CENTS.
Mm-hmm.
So anything you love and that you have a passion for doing will eventually make you some money. Just stay driven and then seek
Mm-hmm.
death. So those 3 philosophies really keep me going. And what's cool is that somehow I came up, like, I literally had to Google 2 of them to make sure that no one's come up with them because I was like, no way, someone said that somewhere. And like, even you control you, no one said it like that. It was like, I started looking, I'm like, how is that possible? You control yourself and you do this. I'm like, oh man. I'm like, so that's when I knew I was stumbling onto a new version of me, is when I could start really developing my own quotes and not rely on everybody else's. And so there's nothing wrong with using other people's quotes. I use other people's quotes quite often, but for me, I was able to settle on those 3 and come up with those 3, and they came out of nowhere. And that was what was so dope about it. It was like, oh, say something, write it down. I was like, nah, I'll Google that in a little while because I'm gonna be disappointed that someone already had that.
Mm-hmm.
And all 3 of those times, I'm like, oh man, I'm like, this is mine. I'm like, let's go. And yeah, I don't know if I have this ignorance to refuse to stop. And I say it's ignorant because there's probably reasons why I should. I'm just not discovering them. And so I'm blindly and willingly able to be ignorant to fail. Like, I'm just gonna keep going. And I'm willing to grow all the time. And that is something that's tough for some people. And for some people, for all of us, it's very tough for me sometimes. And that confidence you talk about, my students call that BDE. They call that I don't know if I have to, but it's not there all the time. It's like if you put my ex-wife on here, she could remember times where it wasn't, where I was shook and I wanted to quit. There were times I literally would take folders and I'm done with this. Like, this artist isn't doing this and this company ain't doing this and this ain't happening here. And man, I'm sick of all this. And what the, you know what? I'm not making no. She's like, you really want to quit? I'm done. And the next day I just get back to it. And so, And even my girl now, like there's times I've said I'm done with the gym, like I'm done, because I'm dealing with whenever it's something that I know I shouldn't have to deal with, that I'm dealing with, that frustrates me. And then I have to go back to you control you. Why am I letting this get me out of my realm and out of my own thing? And I've been very blessed to have women in my life that have known when I really need something said, they come through in the clutch. And so like I literally was frustrated the other day with my gym because someone said from another gym, and I was already dealing like, and it shouldn't have affected me, but I just got some horrible news about my family. It's one of those days where you get some news and then something that normally wouldn't bother you is now annoying the crap out of you. And so I came to her and I'm telling her about it. And she was like, you know, if this was a normal day, this wouldn't even phase you. So just take a breath, relax, chill. About an hour later, I was back at my gym, and when she got there, I had to give her a hug and kiss and say thank you, because now you're right, I'm good, because I control me.
Let me dive more into that networking. So, you know, everybody's put out their story when I first met Shah. I got to put out my story when we first officially met. So I was in the music space, in Milwaukee at the time. I wasn't in the Madison area. But, you know, your reputation precedes you, right? So when we were in Milwaukee, we were looking into a better way to break into the Madison market. On top of that, to get our music out to other places and platforms. And when we was doing our research, we we're like, because we the way we did it, we split the state up into 4s, and we wanted to figure out how to create contacts in each part of the state, whether it is to get out like mixtapes and CDs or whether to perform. And the hardest one to crack was Madison. We could not get into Madison for anything. Like we got on a few bills here and there, but it was so hard to crack. So I'm like, yo, there's got to be a different way. So I reached out. I think it was on Facebook. I don't think it was MySpace. It may have been, but I reached out to Mr. Mark Shah Evans, and I reached out to Shah DJ Fusion, DJ Fusion,
yeah,
to have like a sit down. I don't know the way he describes it. He describes it like this Godfather-esque. Oh man, I take you all out to eat, and we sit and we conversate and we figure out how we're going to split up. It was kind of like that, but not really. But I was like, yo, here's what we're doing. Here's what we're trying to do. Can I come into town and take both you guys to eat? Can we go and sit down and eat somewhere and just chop it up and see what the possibilities are to move forward? And it was a great conversation. Like both you guys were so, I think you guys were surprised that somebody did that, but you guys were like forward coming with like all this information. There's like, okay, well, you can do this. You should try this. Have you thought about this? And they're asking me questions about what we were doing and what we haven't done. And have you tried these platforms? And have you tried these options? So like, I was incredibly grateful. And that was our real first interaction, from him being so upfront and willing to share knowledge and actually show that he cared by actually asking me questions. Some people say, hey, try this. But he actually asked me questions about what we were doing and how we were doing it, which showed like, oh, he's invested in how we're trying to move forward. But not everybody is able to take that step forward as far as networking. You know, there's so many people that are struggling with that network. What tips or what things do you think people need to be aware of, or what are they missing when it comes to really building and expanding their network? Is it just, hey, you just need to throw fear out the window and start talking to folks? Is there a strategy to it? Is there a way you follow up with people, how you engage people? Like, what are some tips for folks that are just starting out and say, hey, I have no network, I'm trying to get one started, or I'm trying to expand the one I got? What would you tell them?
Your network is your net worth. That's not mine. That's just that just makes sense to me. It's like when I heard that, I was like, oh, okay. Everything you said is a yes. You can't be afraid. And you just got to be honest. Like, this is what people struggle with. And this is what, I'm sorry, excuse me. people are like afraid to say they have nothing to offer. Look, I have nothing to offer. I just have questions. I want to learn. Cool. And then accept whatever answer comes instead of getting in your feelings. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to give that to you. Cool. Or how simple was it? You asked us out to eat. We both big dudes. like, and I don't know too many people that are going to say no to food. And so it's like, even a beer, even a drink, it was like, that's how business people sit down and talk. And what's the point of me having all this knowledge and not share some of it? You're not asking me to do the work. You're asking me for what I know. Cool. Here, this is what I know. This is what's worked for me. Take it. And yeah, I'm curious. I now want to know about you. And tell me about you. And tell me what you got going on. And tell me that really is it. And then it's like, it's not like I'm not Diddy. So you can't hit up Diddy like that. You just got to hit up maybe someone in your tier or someone above your tier. And that's where you got to, again, be honest with yourself. I'm a local artist. I'm trying to break out in another market and take over this state. So I got this on lock. I got this on lock. If you were selling drugs, how would you move in that market? You need a connect in that market. You need someone to at least lay up at. Like, the blueprint's in Jay-Z's music, man. Come on, man. Like, it's in Joel Santana's music. It's in Dipset. Like, listen to this. And so for me, I already knew that. I looked at it as, I could always use another connect in Milwaukee. I got Madison on lock. Madison's on lock. That's, for the rest of my life, Madison's on lock. I've done enough work to earn that. Cool. But I'm not in Milwaukee like that. So let me throw some things out, and then I have a connect. And it's just, I don't know, man. It's like, you can't be afraid to ask people and just be honest. Like, if you're looking for knowledge, just ask. There's so many professionals that are willing to give it out if you ask. But don't just say, hey, yo, can you help me do this? No, because now you're asking me to do work.
Yeah.
Now, I charge for that. So if you're going to ask me to do the work, you're going to pay me for that. But if you're asking for knowledge, how can I do this? Cool. Or can we sit down and have a meeting? Sure. What's the meeting about? Well, I don't know how to do certain things, and I can see that you do. And I wanted to see if I could pick your brain and maybe take some notes. Oh, yeah, but I'm not free for another 2 weeks. That's no problem. That's no problem. Go ahead. Like, just shoot me over some dates when you got time. And if 2 weeks go by and I haven't shot you a date yet, hey, I just wanted to check in. Oh, man, I'm sorry. I forgot. Like, cool. Okay, actually, I got my calendar open right now. I can make this work in this time. And then you better do everything you can to make that time. Like, oh, you got to go get a babysitter. You need this, you need that. I don't care. Now, if you say, man, I can't make that date, I got this, more than likely I'll shoot you another date. But I'm just saying, like, there's some people that can't do that. They have this time and they're booked for the next month. Just take that time. And so it's really willing to be open about that. And then ask to shadow. Like, there's a building. Oh man, I'm giving away a gem. There's a building at East Wash. It says, it just says something research on it. It has nothing else. It's like a brick building and it says something research. And I don't remember the address, research company or something like that. And it's right on East Wash. And I know it's on the right side of East Wash when you turn off John Nolan. It's like on that side. And I'm like, I keep driving by it and I'm like, it gives me the feeling of Men in Black. Like, it's that building that I've never seen anybody go in, and it's just there.
Oh, that's where Tommy worked from Martin. Remember Tommy?
Right.
Yeah, and then nobody knew what he did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I told my girl the other day, I'm like, you know what? after this school stuff is done, like next week or the following week, I'm just gonna stop in there and ask them what they do. And then if it's something cool, I don't care if it's something in my field. I'm gonna ask if I can talk with someone or shadow someone. I just want to know. Because if I don't care if it's nothing that it's in my realm, it piqued my curiosity because I don't know what they're researching. And my imagination has got some cool things in there that maybe it's Men in Black type stuff. And cool. If it is, dope. I'm not going to know anyway.
Right.
And if it's not, cool, I might learn something.
Yeah.
And I'm always open to learn. And so that comes from not having failure. Yeah, I could go in there and maybe it is Men in Black and I'm like, something happens, but probably not. And so if I could walk out of there, if I talk with someone and yeah, we do this research and, oh, how do you do that research? How do you calculate that data? I might learn a new program. I might just get told some word that I've never heard of before. And I go look up that word and it takes me down a whole nother thing. And I'm like, oh, that's dope. So it all comes, man, just be open and honest. Don't ask for things for free. Knowledge, how can I put this? Because I don't want it to be confusing. I don't charge to do the work. I don't charge to give out knowledge. I charge if you want me to do the work.
Makes sense.
I'll give it because knowledge is supposed to share it. If I've learned something, I'm better off sharing it because then it makes room for more information to come my way. And if I share something, you might share something with me that I didn't know. So let's go. Knowledge is all knowledge and time, man. Those are two valuable things. And so I like getting more knowledge and I like sharing knowledge. I hope that answered your question.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, it reminds me of I know there's a metaphor where it's like you got the knowledge, but at a certain point your glass is going to be full. So you got to pour some of that glass water out in order for you to even get more, but someone else can take advantage of what you just poured out. So yeah, you just completely described all that for us.
To me, it's a universal thing. If I have money, I got to give it away. I got to give some of it away. I got to.
Who'd you learn that generosity from? Like, just somebody in your family that kind of instilled that in you, or just over time you just kind of learned it on your own?
I think over time we didn't really have we were broke, so I don't remember my my mom giving away money. I remember my mom giving away time. Like
most valuable thing
she would give time to help other people. And so that stuck out to me. My mom is very generous with helping people and she accepts everybody no matter what. If you rock with her, she rocks with you. If not, she ain't rocking with you. So as far as the money, it's just one of those things that I think reading a lot and learning a lot about money management is like if the more you hoard your money, the less likely you are to bring money in. So you got to give that money. And I'm not saying give it away. But here's the thing. If I go out to eat, I don't go out to eat unless I get tip well. We were just talking about this at my gym the other day. I do not go anywhere if I can't give a 30 to 50% tip. I'm not going out to eat then. I'm broke. I'm too broke to go out to eat because unless the service was horrible, and I still tip them well. If it's a $20 meal, they're getting a $10 tip. If it's a $40 meal, they're probably getting a $20 tip. So if I know I'm going somewhere where it's going to cost me a lot of money, if I can't afford that tip, I have no business going. So that's how I look at it anyway. And that keeps me in check. When I did go to Dunkin', if I couldn't afford to pay for someone behind me, I wasn't going. And so it was like, it just keeps me in check of saving money, but also knowing to give it away. Like if I got $2 in my car and I see a homeless person right there, I give them the $2 because in my mind, that $2 isn't going to save me paying a bill necessarily. And if it's in my car and I didn't put it in a savings jar or I didn't put it in an investment somewhere, it doesn't really mean that much to me. So and it keeps me from keeping money in places that I shouldn't keep money at. So it's training me in every different facet and allowing me to stay on point. And I'm always looking to give and help other people, which will then the universe will provide it right back to me. And so, but that's not what I'm doing it for. I'm doing it because I literally want to do it. So knowledge, money, love, my like respect, like I just give that away. And if I don't like the vibe I'm getting back, I ain't gotta mess with you. It's just that simple. I can just move on and I know I'm good.
That's dope, man. That's dope, man.
But lots of books taught me that too.
Yeah, that's cool. That's super cool, man. So ever since I've known you, the first time I met you, I think I saw you on stage, and you were an MC, and I don't know if you was doing something with Tef Man and
Probably.
and Vic back in the day, like Lost Souls, Peace to Lost Souls, man. I don't know if y'all was doing the show, but I remember seeing you. I didn't really know you. But then the first time I think I ever really linked with you was for a Valentine's Day show where a lot of crazy shit happened for that kind of sparked a lot of things that happened for Madison hip hop. Rob D's had a situation at that event. It was a great event. Like I did a show, with my future wife was there. Like we had a great time. But I've actually never seen you work a 9-to-5 job. So since have you, that's kind of my question. Like,
come to think about it, neither have I.
you know what I'm saying? Like, usually it's like, yo, we bring people on and they like, well, I'm doing this on the side, or I was working in 9-to-5, I flipped it this way. But I've never seen that. So it's like you say that, like, you're basically fearless, but you do have fear, but you're not afraid to approach that fear. What was your official first business? Was it doing the promotion, Get Your Buzz Up, or the record label? Like which?
Nah, it was
start
top.
First?
It was Midwest Co-op was the first business structure, and then when me and Tef became business partners, and then me taking over running the business side for TOP.
Okay.
And then from there into my own management company, Get Your Buzz Up. I started as an intern. Believe it or not, I was an intern at Get Your Buzz Up, and now I'm the owner. That's how you do that.
That's your pattern,
but
I see.
yeah, most definitely. But no, I had jobs, man. Like man, I worked at a grocery store before. That was a cool job when I moved to Richland Center. And then actually the favorite, I had two jobs that I thought were really dope. One, I was a teacher at a daycare my senior year of high school and then after high school. And I really liked that job. I really, really liked that job. I had to go get certified, actually do this stuff. And, I already like kids. So it was like, cool. And then they put me with the older kids. So it was like, oh, cool. So, and then Culver's, believe it or not, Culver's taught me a lot, actually. Craig Culver's a genius. And I learned a lot and I don't have regrets. I just should have picked his brain. I had opportunities, but I wasn't thinking like that. Yeah, man. Because I was working at a corporate store, and a corporate store is like their store. It's one Culver that Craig Culver opened himself. And so I worked lots of different positions within that store, including in-store trainer, which sent me to other stores to go open them up and work these long hours. And it was fun. And I had to train all these people. So I was learning so much about the business side of things just on that. And then I would watch this man come in and just give Badger tickets away like it was nothing. Like it was nothing. And it was like, oh, and then he'd come in and work the grill. And I could see the hustle. Like, I'm like, okay, he's just trying to show that he's still part of it. But his whole story is that he started, at an A&W and then eventually bought it and then moved on to Culver's and created his own thing. So it was like, oh,
know that. That's crazy.
Yeah. So it was like, I got to actually talk with someone and shake their hands and get Badger tickets from them. And he would constantly come to the stores, and it was like, oh, this is a different kind of hustle. Okay. And then from there, just working in factories for a while there, I made yogurt, man. I know all about making yogurt, B. Like I can make me some yogurt for
That's what's up.
that taught me a different work ethic. When I was working at a yogurt factory, and when it started, there was only 2 shifts, first and second shift. But there were times where the machine would break and we'd be there till 6 in the morning.
Oh damn.
Dang.
And the only customer they had was Walmart, because Walmart was new. They were just like coming on board to taking over things. But then then I watched them debo and take every single yogurt company, sour cream company. They took Dean out of business because Dean's factory was in Richland Center.
Yeah, okay, I remember.
And
Dean.
so they took them out of business, and I was like, whoa. And they got so much business. We'd eventually have a third shift, but I would work like 18 days in a row, get a half day off, work 21 days in a row, get another. And like, I was watching us kill the competition. Like they were taking them out. It was just like, hey, that's my block. It's my block now. And they were literally taking it in the yogurt and dairy industry. I was like, man. And then they sold it off. And I was like, oh, that's a different kind of hustle. But I also learned that I could work like a madman, and I didn't like my job. And but I also got to learn to be a leader. I ran an entire yogurt line. So like at the start of the line, you got the processors. They make all the milk. They do all that stuff, and then it pumps in to the room. And I had to, like, throughout an 8-hour shift, you're picking up somewhere between 150 and 350 pound bags of fruit. You're just picking them up, slicing them open. They fall in there, squeeze it out, throw it away, pick up another one. And that is your job at that part. But then you got to run this big machine, supply with cups. Make sure the foils are right. Make sure the temperatures are right. Make sure the weight was on point. Make sure the taste was good. Make sure that your partner didn't put the wrong bag of fruit in, because sometimes that shit happens. And then you have to catch it. Make sure the dates are right. Make sure that they're doing everything at their end. Because there was a machine that would put yogurt in the packaging. Make sure that's all right. And then make sure the palletizers are counting the pallets correctly, and make sure they're putting it in the freezer, the heat. Like, I was responsible for this. And so on top of doing all the manual labor, I have to make sure everybody else is on point too, and train other people. And, I learned that money wasn't everything with that job, because I owned a house, I had a few cars, but by the time I worked the first shift, so by the time I get off like 2 or 3, you work 21 days in a row and steel-toe boots in that kind of environment.
Yeah.
You don't want to walk a dog.
No.
You don't want to take your family for a walk. I drank a beer and don't talk like, let me just chill. Let me just chill. And I learned money wasn't everything, but I knew I had the work ethic because I'm doing it, and I did it for years. So I was like, I need to go do me. And once I did that, I had to do me. And so, I worked other jobs. I worked at Blockbuster strictly just so I can get free movies. That was my hustle. It was like, I don't want to pay for movies and video games.
Word.
And they were right across the street. And the thing is, this might be off topic. The whole reason why I didn't care if I failed in music is because I sold my house, and me and Ryan were going to school together. Not many people know this. I sold my house and I lived on Ryan's couch. So when me and Sherelle got together, I got laid off from one job, and music wasn't making money yet. Not like that. It make a couple $100 here and there from a show. And we just moved in together. So I was like, So I looked, and Bad Buzz was hiring, and they pay halfway decent, and the hours I could work. And then we had our son, so I could, because, well, birth control didn't work right then. So, so we had our son. So it was like, I could work these hours and still be a stay-at-home dad. And it supplemented the income, but then they laid me off, and it was like, music it is. And so whenever my back is against the wall, I come out swinging like a madman. I just try to keep calm while doing it and just put it together. And all of a sudden, doing shows, and I always stayed to my word. If you ask DJ Payne one, he's told this story before when he knew he could trust me. We did a show. and Wisconsin hit a blizzard, of course, and it was a freestyle battle, and it was dead crickets because there was a blizzard. And I said, "Yo, would you be open to make me paying you a little bit less?" He was like, "Man," I'm like, "Nope, don't even worry about it," because the moment he said, "Man," I was like, "Nope," but I had to ask, and I just paid him what I told him, and I've never not paid someone what I told him I was going to pay him. And so that's what led to Get Your Buzz Up, because they were looking to get into Madison, and he connected me with them and did a couple events. And then next thing I know, I'm an intern. Next thing I know, I'm the VP. Next thing is like, well, I want to go do this venture. You're Mr. Get Your Buzz Up now. You want it? Yep, I'll pay for it. Come on, let's go. And so
that's crazy, man.
I just made my
that was you from the beginning.
Yeah.
Nah, man, that was
no idea. Like you
nah, that was Jay Hatch and Mike Trampy.
And but Mike you Trampy, did embody that. You embodied it like from day one.
Right.
You embodied.
Oh
that.
Yeah. Once, and it was something I learned from Hatch. When Hatch came here and did that first show, and we did it at the Annex. He told everybody, he was like, he told the judges, and like you're talking A&Rs, and he brought all these people from New York, and he was like, man, Shah is the Midwest Jay Hatch. And that cosign, I was like, man, I can't fuck this up. He was like, you know how to run a website? I'm like, what kind? He was like, WordPress. I'm like, yep. I ain't no shit. I ain't no shit, but I was not going. He was like, man, yeah, this is the way for you to stay on. If you post music and you post articles and you do that, then you connect with artists. And if you want to do interviews and do whatever, I was like, yeah, I could do it. And just started researching how to do WordPress, researching how to post. Pain, how do I do this? Pain, how do I do this? Pain, do you know how to do this? Oh, you don't? Okay. All right. And then I would research it and figure it out. And the cool thing with Pain is we always, like, if he asked me to do something, I say yes. And then if I ask him, so we have a dope barter system, but there's my hustle again. Right. I had to figure out, oh man, do these articles. And all of a sudden I'm meeting these artists and connecting with these artists across the fucking globe. And then I was hosting a mixtape and someone said, yeah, man, you like Mr. Get Your Buzz Up. I'm like, ding, ding, ding. Pff, let's go. You right. I'm Mr. Get Your Buzz Up. And it just came out and I was like, oh yeah, that sticks. Yeah, let's go. That sounds right. And Hatch was cool with it. Of course, I had to go to him like, hey, you cool if this name? He was like, yeah, of course, let's go. And it stuck. And I worked so hard. You know, he was the owner, Trampy was the president, and then he made me the VP. And he has so many other things going on. Like Jay Hatch had an iStandard going on. That's the producer side of things.
Yeah, I remember that.
He was working with Coast to Coast, and Hatch and Trampy was working a lot with him on those. Plus, they were still working with artists here and there. And neither one of them had the time to run Get Your Buzz Up. And they're like, you pretty much doing it, man. Just buy it. It's yours. And intern to owner? Yeah, let's go. But it taught me how to connect with artists. It taught me new skills. I would have never known how to do WordPress. I don't know how to develop a site, but I know how to post on a WordPress site. I know how to do it. And I got to hear music from across the globe, like different hip hop. And I could tell somebody if it was dope or not within, like, it just taught me a whole different skill set, man. Like it was dope. But yeah, I've worked regular jobs, man. I've worked regular jobs. I'm willing to go get, like I tell my girl all the time, if things fail, I'll go work at McDonald's right now. Real talk. I'd redo my resume. I don't even think I got a resume actually, but I make a resume and then I go, I'm not family first, man.
That's right. Get your money, man.
My two values are leadership and family. So if they need that money, time to go get that job. And so it is what it is.
Say that again, like listeners, slow dough is better than no dough.
That's a fact. And that's some grown-up stuff too.
Man, like, I would go work at McDonald's. Like, oh, my daughter says, man, I don't want to work. Okay. Right. Okay. You don't know. You don't know. And I find that as a blessing that she doesn't understand that yet, because that means I provided a cool life for her. But I know what I do. I go work at McDonald's. How you want it? I work at Burger King. I work at Taco Bell. Like, actually, I took my girl to Taco Bell the other day. I'm like, you know what? They hiring. I bet it pays good. She's like, when are you gonna have time to do that? I'm like, I don't know, but a little extra money ain't gonna hurt.
Right.
So, like, I am to the point now where I could, if I needed to, or if I needed to, I have no problem walking away from my businesses and going, and because I know I can go do a normal job. My dreams, I can make that happen easily, because I know if I want to do it, I'll go do it.
Word.
But if I need that money, I'll go get that job. I have no shame in that one. You will think I'm playing out with, man.
I believe.
I heard that. So I feel like you just took us on from DLO asking that one question. You just took us through. You took us through strategy, right? Then we was in operations at the yogurt factory. You know what I'm saying? Like, you definitely took us through the work ethic, which is needed, and then you took us through trust and reputation. When you're talking about, right, DJ paying one and paying folks what you say. So with that, and then the buzz up stuff, like the branding piece. That's another thing I've always admired about you. Like, you always knew how important that piece was, even before it was popular. I say now everybody talks about, I got my personal brand. It's this and it's that. I'm making sure that I'm doing my promo. But you were doing it before people knew that they need to do that. When people just trying to get, the strength of my rhyme is going to bring people out. When people thought that, right? Back in the day. And even then you knew that there was a piece about this branding. So when you look at that, what would you say is the thing that people miss about branding the most when they're trying to do something for themselves?
Usually too humble or too big an ego. They're too humble. Like, man, why would anybody check me out? Why would anybody vibe with me like this? I'm just an artist. Well, you better sell yourself. Sell, like, anybody can spit. Anybody can spit. Like, so what separates you from the other spitters? And then the ego, man, I don't have to do that. I don't have, like, and then that's still the same problem with learning it. It's like, that is a whole different art form. And so it's understanding that social media is a tool, and understanding that word of mouth matters, understanding that you don't need to have all the money in the world. And just look at, I always tell people, man, I can't tell you where I learned this from. I've read it since I've put it into action, and I've learned how to word it better, is that there's not a blueprint I can come up with that's probably mine. It's all been done before. There's nothing original. So all I did is study what other people were doing in my field. I watched Diddy, I watched Jay, I watched Dame, I listened to him, Master P.
Yeah.
Those are probably the big ones, Russell Simmons. And I just said, okay, what are they doing? What are they not doing? How can I be better? How can I make it mine? And so I was in a market that didn't cater to hip hop. And I was like, okay. However, college kids loved hip hop.
Yes.
Okay. Let me see how I could do this. Okay. I have to understand the money side of it. So I have to market to the radio if we have a radio song, but do not make a song for the radio. Just make your music. We'll play it from there. Okay. Okay, cool. Let me get on social media and hype things up. And I made plenty of mistakes with that, like learning. And Facebook was like, and social media at that time was like the Wild Wild West. They have their algorithms pretty much set now. They know what they're doing with that. But back in the day, it wasn't. So it was like, okay, create an event, put in this little code or whatever, and it'll just copy and paste every one of your friends. And I don't have to go through and click it all. Cool. Invite. Cool. That's all done. Okay. What else can be done? Well, we're having this event. Why are we having this event? What is the why behind it? Because let's just not do a show just to do a show. Why would people come out? Well, you can't get me out the door. So there's plenty of people like me. Why? What is the why? It has to be more than just drinking and having fun. What is the why? And then networking with different artists. Maybe put a show with 10 different artists on it that have 10 different demographics. You're guaranteed you're not going to have a problem because there's too many different folks in there. Or a release party or something. So there's always a reason why. And then just hit them with singles or hit them with certain pictures. And then once I got a better understanding of social media, okay, I could super like something. That's a cheat code that Facebook doesn't allow anymore. So I ran so many different pages. I still run like 30 some pages. I still admin to like 30 some pages. But what I would do is if Payne put out a post, man, I need you to super like this. Spend 5 to 10 minutes, change the page, love, comment, boom, change the page, like, comment, boom. And all of a sudden, within the first 5 or 10 minutes, you're going to have somewhere between 20 and 40 likes. Facebook reads that as it's starting to do numbers, it pushes it to the front. So it's just understanding different cheat codes that you could get away with back then that you can't get away. Like you could do it now, but it's going to take a couple days because they're going to pause you after you go through 5 accounts or whatever, and they're going to make you wait. And then just reading, like, I don't know if I'm really answering your question. It was just, I just seen marketing as a way to play chess and outmaneuver everyone else. Okay. You put up flyers for that show. Man, that was dope. Man, you had dope graphics. Okay. Did you run ads on Facebook? Oh, you didn't do that. Okay. Next show, I'm doing that. And then I would overflyer 5,000 flyers for a show at the Frequency. Give me 10% of 5,000. We winning. We winning.
For those that don't know, listeners who may not be familiar with the Frequency, I don't even know, is the Frequency still open right now?
Nah, man.
The Frequency was a club down at the Capitol in Madison on the Square. I don't know how many people it could hold. I don't
109.
think 109.
Actually, 102 in the back, and then probably like 20, maybe 10 to 20 people up front. But usually the solid number was 109. And
you used to have I remember you had did you have Lil Durk there one time? Or
G Herbo was there.
G Herbo, yeah.
But see, that's a connect because I didn't book that. The Majestic needed help with that.
Oh.
And so I made that happen. And so that's behind the scenes working with all these venue owners and earning their respect and not playing no games. And so it just, I don't know. I just looked at marketing as you have guerrilla marketing, you have social media marketing, you got word of mouth. Right. You cannot like me, but go ahead and try to do something because you cannot like me, but you can't knock the work ethic. And even the artists that didn't like me had to come see me, like, and not in a bad way. Like they had to come see me if they wanted a show, and people didn't like that aspect, but it was like, no one stop it. I'm not stopping you from hitting them up. Well, when I hit them up, they tell me to hit you up. I don't know what to tell you. That's me doing good business. I'm not telling them to have that. Trust me. If I had something exclusive, I'd make more money off that. But there was nothing exclusive. It's just I'm doing good business. And so trial and error with marketing. Some shows would work, some shows wouldn't. Some things worked, some things didn't. Learn how to like fine tune the money into different things. And then I was honest with my demographic. I knew what my demo was for hip hop.
We appreciate everybody tuning into the Black Currency podcast. This concludes part 1 of our interview with Mark Shah Evans. Make sure to tune in next Thursday where we will release the second part of this conversation as Shah starts to dive into his new business venture, Seek Death. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Ain't you sick of giving me your money?
I know he didn't do it, baby.
Whoa, where you going?
No, I'm about to go make these drop balls.